Заправляю свою БМВ бензином по 64 рубля.
When Putin met with Kim Jong-un, he thanked North Korea for sending troops to support Russian forces in the Kursk region, praising their role in our joint fight with modern neo-Nazism. This is part of Russia's deliberate strategy to frame its war of aggression against Ukraine as a continuation of the sacred struggle against Nazism. By invoking the Nazi label, the Kremlin strips its opponents of moral legitimacy, depicts Ukrainians as subhuman enemies, and portrays Russia as the heroic defender of civilization. The Ukrainian 65th Mechanized Brigade crushed a Russian armored group of MTLBS, APCS, and a tank. Before they could even reach Ukrainian positions, 7 vehicles were destroyed and over 30 Russian troops eliminated. Russian generals continue to insist on attacking with armored columns despite repeated heavy losses, a pattern that has puzzled many military analysts. These large-scale mechanized assaults are rooted in Soviet-era doctrine, emphasizing overwhelming firepower and massed advances to break through enemy lines. In practice, however, Ukraine's artillery, drones, and precision strikes have consistently decimated these formations, destroying tanks, armored vehicles, and supply trucks before they can achieve their objectives. The persistence of this tactic is partly due to rigid command structures in the Russian military, where initiative is limited at lower levels, and commanders often feel compelled to follow orders from above, even when conditions on the ground make them suicidal. Additionally, political pressure from Moscow encourages high-profile offensives that are intended to demonstrate momentum, even if they are tactically flawed. Changing tactics would require a shift toward more flexible combined arms operations, small unit maneuvering, and adaptive responses to Ukraine's mobile defenses, approaches that Russian forces have historically struggled to implement. Until such a doctrinal shift occurs, armored columns will continue to suffer devastating losses, highlighting a combination of outdated strategy, poor adaptation, and systemic rigidity that plays directly into Ukraine's strengths on the battlefield. The commander of the SBS, Robert Magyar Brovdy, shared the results of the Special Operations Unit strikes on Russian oil refineries in August. The Afipsky refinery, the Unesha Transneft Druzhba oil pumping station, and the Syzran refinery were hit twice during the month. In total, Magyar reported 17 attacks. Overall, in August, the SBS disabled 24.2% of Russia's oil refining capacity. These strikes go beyond immediate destruction, striking at the heart of Russia's energy-dependent war effort. By targeting refineries and pumping stations, the SBS disrupts fuel supplies for vehicles, aircraft, and frontline units, forcing Russia to divert resources for repairs and transport alternative fuel. The cumulative effect weakens operational mobility, slows offensives, and puts additional strain on Russian logistics, while simultaneously boosting Ukrainian morale and demonstrating the effectiveness of precision special operations deep inside enemy territory. The gasoline crisis is spreading. In occupied Luhansk, a man managed to refuel only during curfew hours.
Город Луганск. Я нахожусь на заправке. Заправляю свою БМВ бензином по 64 рубля. Людей вокруг никого нету. Покажи, Вась. Также есть сотый бензин по 89 рублей 90 копеек.
If Zelensky is ready, let him come to Moscow. Such a meeting will take place, says Putin.
Very possible. I have never refused it. If this meeting is well prepared and will lead to some positive possible results. By the way, Donald asked me if it was possible to have such a meeting. I said, yes, it is possible. Well, in the end, if Zelensky is ready, let him come to Moscow. Such a meeting will take place.
EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs, Kaja Kallas, looking at President Xi standing alongside the leaders of Russia, Iran, and North Korea in Beijing today. These are not just anti-Western optics. This is a direct challenge to the international system built on rules.
While Western leaders gather in diplomacy and autocratic alliances seeking a fast track to a new world order, looking at President Xi standing alongside the leaders of Russia, Iran, North Korea in Beijing today, these aren't just anti-Western optics. This is a direct challenge to the international system built on rules. And it's not just symbolic. Russia's war in Ukraine is being sustained by Chinese support. These are realities that Europe needs to confront.
The United States continues to actively contract arms for Ukraine under the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative program. This is stated in the report of the U.S. Inspector General, brought to the attention of the Shrike News Telegram channel. In the first 2 quarters of 2025, the Pentagon signed new contracts worth $3.2 billion, which indicates an increase in the pace of implementation of previously announced assistance packages. In the first quarter, only $1 billion was contracted. However, in the second quarter, the pace increased, with an additional $2.2 billion in contracts signed. As of the end of June 2025, the total amount of aid packages allocated in 2022 to 2024 is $33.2 billion. Of this amount, $25.4 billion has been contracted, and $14.1 billion has been financed. Thus, about $19 billion remains either unordered or unpaid, or not yet realized in the form of deliveries. Despite the temporary pause in aid that occurred in early July, new data shows that the contracting process has not stopped. This is especially important amid fears that the administration may reduce the volume of orders as part of the economy. Recently, there have been numerous claims about the actual level of assistance the U.S. has provided to Ukraine. There are both overstated and understated estimates. Therefore, in this article, we have analyzed the legislation under which the funding was allocated, reports from American auditors, and other sources to determine how much aid Ukraine actually received from the United States. The Ukrainian company Firepoint, known for developing the Flamingo cruise missile, is preparing to launch the production of solid rocket fuel in Denmark. According to DR, production is scheduled to start on December 1st. This will be the first known case of a Ukrainian defense enterprise being located in Denmark. The new production facility will be located next to Skridstrup Air Base, where the Royal Danish Air Force's F-35 fighter jets are stationed. FPRT, created by Firepoint specifically for the Danish market, has already received a local CVR registration number and launched the FPRT.dk website. The main product is solid rocket fuel. It does not require refueling before launch, is easy to store, and provides stable combustion. This is the type of fuel used in the Flamingo missile. The fuel production will be carried out in accordance with a new Danish law that allows the government to ignore certain regulations and citizen complaints if the project is critical to defense or civilian security. The law is due to come into force in September. An internal letter obtained by DR journalists states that all ministries should assess whether additional regulations should be waived to ensure that production can start on time. FPRT representatives say that their products support programs that are vital to Danish defense. Components will be tested at separate sites not connected to the main plant. The Danish Defense Ministry is considering using this fuel for the new Pulse missile systems purchased from the Israeli company Elbit. This opens up the prospect of localized ammunition production. The opening of the FPRT production facility in Denmark demonstrates the strategic integration of Ukrainian defense technologies into the European security system. Ukraine is gradually moving from being a recipient of aid to becoming a supplier of critical solutions. On the morning of August 30th, 2025, The defense forces used Flamingo missiles to hit an FSB outpost and patrol boats in Crimea near Armyansk.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.